Let's talk about the different types of delivery methods. We have face-to-face, virtual training, and then it starts to get a little bit grey. We have online, open online courses, and then we have hybrid. Welcome, my name is Analia Pisani from AZ Solutions. What we do is deliver Microsoft Office training to corporates. What I'd like to discuss today is which of these methods is suited for you. Now, face-to-face is our long-term training method. We get the students come in the door, sit down and have this face-to-face. But let's talk about what are the benefits of face-to-face, what are the benefits of virtuals. Let's see if we can discuss some of the pros and cons that each of them have. First of all, let's clarify what each of these are. Okay, face-to-face, people come into our classroom for these Microsoft Office courses, sit down, you have an instructor in front of you, you have the student in front of you, everything is hands-on. Then we've got virtual. Virtual, we're going to need to use the internet. You have a live instructor. This is the way I deliver it. So with the live instructor, the students are in their own environment at their own place of business or home and logging in via the internet. The training session is happening live. That's what I call virtual training session. Now, then there's the term online. Online is, again, over the internet, but my interpretation of that is that it's self-paced learning. So when it says you're doing a course online, you're doing it via the internet, and you're given the materials and then you go off and follow step by step, watch videos and so forth. Then there's open online courses. So what's this open? So my interpretation of that is that it's about an e-learning system. Now, when you say e-learning, basically electronic system, so it's some way of learning over the internet, but it just means you're using lots of different tools. So it could be a mix. It's usually for large volumes of people getting through the process at a time. You get to collaborate with others who are doing the same course. And then there's hybrid. So hybrid is both online and in person. So hybrid, for me, delivering Microsoft Office courses is when I go to the client's premises, I have students in front of me, so I could have 6 to 10 students in front of me, and I could also have another 2 or 3 or more students logging in via Zoom or Teams or whatever method that they like. So they're the different methods. Now, the face-to-face, at the moment, I'm still getting people who are still quite keen on doing face-to-face. For me, face-to-face means that you have the students in front of you. I think you can keep them a bit more engaged because you can read their body language. Body language is very subtle, so you're reading people's eye contacts, whether they're clicking or not clicking or double clicking on the mouse, whether they're fidgeting, by the way and their tone of voice of how they respond. All of these is, a different interaction for delivering or for, attending these courses. Now, you could say that by delivering either face-to-face or online can be less distracting. Well, I guess it depends on your attention span, maybe. There's going to be always, even if you are doing face-to-face, where people are still going to be distracted. They'll be distracted looking out the window, checking out their mobile phone. But when you're doing it virtually, maybe you might think, okay, well, maybe they're more focused or less focused. So, yeah, look, it just, you can read it in either positive or negative way. By doing a face-to-face training session, I guess another thing is you can share the documents. You can stand next to your student and they can flip open or they should have their laptop open anyway, but have their laptop open and actually, flick through the documents and show you, an example of what they want to learn, or what somebody else has done for them, or, why it's worked this way and not that way. And you've got the document right in front of you. There's no, let me email it to you, let me put it in the share file, let me put it in the chat, let me put it in this spot and that spot, and then, I didn't get it, or I'm having trouble opening it up, or it's too large and I still have to zip it. So these are the things I guess you get out of face-to-face. It can really just boil down to, what is the way that you enjoy learning? Do you enjoy learning more with the interaction, being there live, or are you just happy to get through whatever it is you've got to get through by doing it online? The benefit, I guess, for me as a trainer is that when I'm in a training room with my warm bodies, I can stand at a point and sort of scan the room and see all of the laptops, and I can see how everybody is progressing. I can see, are they keeping up? I'm not just relying on them giving me a signal with a hand up or a thumbs up or something virtually, and hoping that they really did get it. So by doing it face to face, I can keep an eye on everybody and see that yes, they are keeping up. I'm not leaving people behind. Yes, they are understanding because I've got those visual cues. They're raising their hand, or they're, giving me a weird look, and I know, okay, no, they didn't get it, but they don't want to speak up. That's another thing you're not going to get over the virtual. There's going to be people who don't want to speak up, or you say to them, did you understand? And, you get no response. So you go, okay, that must mean everybody has understood. And, it's not the case. And interestingly, that as humans, the way we communicate, 93% of our communication is actually non-verbal. Now, if you think about a baby, when you have a baby, you somehow know that you got to feed them now. You know that they fell over and hurt their knee, but yeah, they're fine, they're not dying, by the level of their cry. So the tone of voice, the pitch, all these tiny little cues, without seeing, like when a baby or someone falls down and you're in a completely different room, you can tell if that was just like, I just fell over and scraped my knee, or like, no, hang on a minute, that one's a little bit more serious, I better run out there. So it's amazing how our non-verbal cues really play a part in, how we need to react, what we need to do. So deciding whether, should I just do face-to-face, or, am I going to be okay doing virtual? Well, the people who I would say are more suited to doing a Microsoft Office course as a face-to-face are those people who are less confident using computers. So if you're really raw to computers, and, when people tell you go to the file menu, go where? Click on the home tab, or look down the bottom here, there's a little icon, it looks like, and you struggle to keep up with those sort of cues, then a face-to-face is going to be so much easier, because the instructor can go over the shoulder of the student, point physically, there, that's the one, yep, that's the red one, no, not the orange one, So just, if you're not confident navigating around computers, uploading, downloading files, knowing what a PDF is, maybe managing not only one monitor, but being able to manage two monitors, or even actually vice versa. Sometimes doing your training session and you've only got one monitor, a laptop, can actually be pretty difficult, because you have to squeeze everything in, a screen for the instructor, a screen for the one you're doing, plus the video, the screen that the PDF manual might need to be on. There's just a lot going on your screens. Even if you have the three screens, just keeping up. So these are some of the things you might need to take into consideration as to, whether I should, no, let me wait, I'll do a face-to-face if I can, or no, look, I better just, do a virtual. So yeah, so these are some of the things you might like to think about. With the face-to-face classes, for me personally, I like to keep them between 6 and 10. You often get clients who say, oh, yep, let's just push it that bit. Let's go to 12. No, let's go to 15. You know, you think it's only one more, it's only two more. But that extra person means that the more bodies you have in the classroom, the less that they'll be likely to speak up and say when they fall behind to put up their hand. The less likely that they'll say, I don't really understand this. The smaller, the more quaint, cozy you keep the class. That's why I think 6 is my special number. I think the more benefit you get out of a face-to-face in Microsoft Office training circumstances. Now, the next one is virtual. Look, virtual, of course, has its place, and it still works for a lot of people. What I want to run through with you, though, is a list of some of the things that you might need to keep an eye on, and that's your technology. So I'm going to run through what you can do when your internet settings aren't working that crash hot, basically. So one of the things you can do is try and plug in directly to your modem. If you can. Now, of course, if you're in a home scenario, that's going to be a lot easier to do than if you are in a business environment. But that's certainly something that you can do. Another thing will be going wireless is obviously, great if you can do it. It's a lot more convenient because you can move around. But what you want to do, if you can, is position your laptop as close as you can to the modem. You know how people joke about close the door, you're letting the Wi-Fi out. Well, kind of true. Wi-Fi is airwaves and they do travel. So in actual fact, yes, you do need to keep the pathways open. And one of the things that you can do when you can't keep those pathways open is maybe look into a Wi-Fi extender. Now, the one that I use is one that you plug into the wall. I'm sure there's hundreds of different ones. So when you have 2-level home or business, small business, large business locations, you need to position maybe get some extenders. The other thing is your router. So your router, just about every 3 years, technology updates and changes. So maybe take a look at upgrading your software and also the hardware as well. In terms of the frequency, if you can use the 5 gigahertz wherever you can, that's going to also help with your frequency, your bandwidth, what you can grunt, okay, your juice. Position your router high up. Now that was an interesting point. So I had it above the fridge, but you don't want it to kind of touch the fridge, so I've got like another, cupboard. So it's above the fridge, above that cupboard, and that's where it is, and it's higher up, so it's in a position where it can flow a little bit easier through objects, basically. So yeah, keep your router high up if you can. Move your router away from electrical. So if you've got air conditioners, microwaves, fridges, washing machines, anything like that, keep it away from those sorts of things. Another interesting thing is and you're probably forced to do this anyway when things don't work out right, is to restart your router. But one of the things that's recommended is to restart your router once a month. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know that I do that myself, but I haven't had, really you just do it every time there's issues and it's not working that great. That's one of the things you do anyway. You turn it off, turn it on again. When you're running a virtual training session, the main thing I get when I'm running some of these sessions is my clients, their camera is choppy, and their audio is also then choppy. So, one of the things, good old trick, log out, log back in. But if you can, maybe initially just for the introduction part, and so you create a little bit of a, connection with your audience first up, is maybe have your camera on, but as the session moves on, and if you're having issues, really just turn off the camera, and that should give you that little bit more grunt. So yeah, those are some of the things that you got to contend with. Now, once you get all of that out of the way, another thing, I guess, if you're in an office situation, you might be in an office and there's a lot more going through. There's probably a lot less that you can do about it, other than if you can move yourself closer to the router, if you know where it is in your actual office. When you're running the virtual training sessions, one of the things is we can still share our screen with our participants. So if anybody gets stuck, especially when we're doing an Excel function and you're doing an if function and a VLOOKUP and a match and whatever else all nested in together, just making an error in a comma or a dollar sign or forgetting a bracket here and there can hold the group back. And so what's great about the virtual is you can share, at least I can let go of the reins and get a student to share their screen, and then we can have a look and move on. Sometimes I have noticed though, when I do get a student to share their screen, the screen clarity for me is not that great. So that can sometimes be an issue, and I am sort of having to navigate via memory and via my knowledge. So that is something that you've got to, as a facilitator, on the facilitator side of it, keep in mind. Also, whether you do face-to-face actually or virtual, sometimes you'll get audiences who have various different versions. And from 2010 to Office 365, there still are some differences in some of the products. So as a facilitator, you've got to sort of keep up. And sometimes people have Mac and PC, so the shortcut keys will be different. So when you're doing it virtually, you can't see these things, and it's not until you get to do these shortcut keys that you realise, hang on, I think you might be on a Mac. Hang on, let me guide you. If you're on a Mac, do this. If you're on a PC, do this. When you do this face-to-face, you can literally, they fire up the product, the laptop, you can tell whether it's a PC or a Mac. So you can jump in and deal with those things straight away. So these are some things to do. Now, who the virtual is suited to is if you have a client who has operates out of different states or even different countries, doing it virtual might be your only option. Also, if you don't have the numbers in one state and another, so if you only have 2 students in one state, 5 students in another, it's not feasible enough to have 2 different sessions. So it's a great way of amalgamating. So doing that virtually can work out really well. The self-paced learning, well, that's going to work out really well for people who are a bit quicker than others, have different background knowledge on the subject that they're about to attend. So being able to say, let me just do it at my own pace and be able to go that little bit faster than everybody else, that's where that self-paced, e-learning, online learning would come in handy. The open online courses, that's great for people who need a little bit of different stimuli. Maybe not so much for Word, Excel, because our courses tend to be just one day and we're over and done with. But open line courses are good for those really long soft skill courses, conflict resolution, leadership and management courses that go on for, quite a bit longer, and their qualifications. So they do a combination of live sessions, background materials, videos and discussions within groups. Hybrid is the last one that I'll talk about. So with the hybrid session, so that's when we have someone face-to-face but also doing the virtual. That's worked out when I'm based in Sydney, but some of the other clients, participants are based in, let's say, Melbourne. So we're able to do some of those face-to-face and those over in Melbourne. Just when doing a session like that, it is a little bit more difficult because initially you might start fully intentionally to engage with both the audience that you have in front of you and the virtual, but it is easy to slip into attending to the face-to-face people and then forgetting about the virtual people. So there is a little bit of a danger of that when delivering a short one-day session in this way. So it is a little bit more challenging for the trainer to be able to do both. I understand for the client's perspective, though, it's very cost effective and it's very time saving, so that's what they need. That's, you know, that's what they would be wanting. But as a client, you need to also be aware that it may not be as effective as if it was all face to face. But, you know, not everything is possible. Thank you for joining me in this session. My name is Annalia Pisani from AZ Solutions.